Hey, and welcome to my back lane. Why are we in my back lane? Because we had to plug in this car, the Ford Fusion Energi, which means that it is a plug-in hybrid. It can go from 35 kilometers running on pure electric power and then reverts back to a very efficient hybrid system. So it's plugged into my house with a 120 volt system, and you can also charge it with 240 at charging stations or have a charging station put into your home. So here we go, take it out for a spin and we'll find out what it's all about. Now, the first thing you notice when you get in this is you have to hit the OK button every single time you start this vehicle. I guess it's to let you know that it's ready to go, but I was stuck trying to get it in and out of gear and it wouldn't go anywhere. Until you hit the OK button, you can't take off. Now, this vehicle is the same system that they use in the C-Max and the Ford Fusion Hybrid. It's a 2-liter gasoline engine matched to lithium-ion batteries with an electric motor. That produces 141 horsepower. Now, that's not the most horsepower in this class by any stretch. The 4-cylinder engines that are available with the regular Fusion have much more power, but you're trying to get a balance of efficiency and also daily use. Now, because this is an extended range plug-in hybrid, you can run, as I mentioned off the beginning, about 35 kilometers on just pure electric power. There's also a button here where you can change it from pure electric to store the electric energy for later. Say you're going to use it later in your trip, and then you can just go back to the regular auto mode, which is what I'm on here now, using the gasoline engine and the electric motors as a pure hybrid. And I want to show you why. Because if you pulse the engine, that's the gasoline engine, and then coast, it switches to the electric mode. And then you can just feather the throttle ever so lightly to just keep it in electric mode as long as possible. And then you brake in long distances like I am now and see how much it returns back to the system. It says I got 100% of the energy I used in electric mode regenerated back into the electric system. Okay, so that's the way it works when you're on the hybrid system. Put it in electric mode or EV mode, it's pure EV until the battery runs down, and then you go back to the hybrid mode. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people will be saying, okay, why would you spend the extra money and buy the Energi when you can get the regular hybrid? I wouldn't personally, for the type of driving I do, but if you could drive, say, 20-30 kilometers to work, and then you had a chance to get out and plug your car in at work and then come home, you might never use the gasoline engine at all. What does this vehicle have going for it? First and foremost, great looking styling. All Fusions do. This one is definitely the most expensive, but they all look fantastic, especially from the front. You can tell that Ford used to own Jag and Aston Martin because it has a very Jag-inspired front end. My mother even says, boy, that looks like a Jaguar. It's not. It really is long and sleek. It's got the great lines down the side, the narrow windows. They hit it out of the park in terms of styling. I would say this car and the Mazda 6 are two that look the best in the mid-size category. Now, this Energi has one crippling side effect, and that is the size of the battery in the trunk. When you open up the trunk, there's barely enough room for my camera bag back there. The trunk is taken up by the battery. Then you have the cable that you use to plug this car in. Either you're going to wrap that up and put it under the floor every time, or you're just going to leave it in the trunk like I did, and it takes up even more space. I'm a much bigger fan of the C-Max Hybrid, not the Energi version of that one. I got great mileage on the C-Max. You can actually go back and watch the review I did here on YouTube or on my website, motormouth.ca. Now, I think if you're looking for a vehicle that you're going to plug in and extend the range of your hybrid, a hatchback really is the way to go, because you don't have that massive battery in the trunk. You still have the proper hatch to utilize in your everyday life. So the C-Max or the Prius plug-in would be the way to go, in my opinion. The biggest complaint with this, other than the lack of trunk space, is the price. The regular hybrid Fusion starts at around $27,000. You want to get into the Energi, it's $35 grand. If you want this top of range model, it's $41,000. At $41,000, you're getting into the price of a Volt pure electric or a Nissan Leaf pure electric. You really have to want to save the planet to buy this car. I think the regular hybrid is the way to go, and I think the C-Max is a better overall car. It's smaller, and because it has the same power output as this model, it definitely feels more drivable. So I applaud Ford for coming out with the Fusion Energi. I don't think they're going to have a lot of takers at this price, and the compromise of basically no trunk space is a deal breaker, at least for me.